Welcome to another episode of Awaken Your Work Life. Why? Because there's so many of us that go to work and spend all these hours in something that doesn't make you giggle. And I have noticed that the more you giggle about what you're doing and your passion and your purpose in your work life, actually, the more money comes to you. I am Julie Murphy, and I'm the money chick. I am not the work-life expert, but I have helped thousands of people help to get to a better place to actually create more money in their world and have that money be sustainable so that it sticks and so that you have it. And my friend Karen here is my work-life expert. So Karen, tell them all about yourself.
Hey. Hi, Julie. Yeah, so happy to be here. Yeah, so what I do is I consider myself an intuitive business strategist. I work with individuals and organizations, but especially entrepreneurs, to help them get beyond the things they can't see might be holding them back. And often that is mindset, but sometimes it's strategy. And, we take an intuitive approach to figure it out.
Yep.
So,
well, and speaking of an intuitive approach, just before our little live here, something told me to pick up. This is 𝐾𝐻�10 She has a deck of cards. And sometimes I just like to pull a card to kind of see, like, what does spirit want to tell me today? And how do we follow our intuition? And wouldn't you know, what I pulled was cleaning house, the house cleaning. So I would like to start today by reading to you from 𝐾𝐻�10. The card came out in reverse, and it says, it's time to clear the clutter to make way for better things. Like, love more of the people you work with and the purpose behind what your company's doing in the world and the positive impact they're making, but we stay there because it's familiar and I've been there for 10, 20 years. Okay. But listen to this. Why do you hold on to things that remind you of the past? Is your home cluttered with objects that bring up unhappy memories? Do you have a tendency to attract broken people who need to be fixed? If you're involved, don't chuckle too much on that one, Karen. If you're involved in this type of emotional project, stop right now and clean house. Being needed isn't going to get you what you really need. That said, even if you initially resist letting go of excess physical or emotional baggage, you'll feel amazing afterward. Let go and let the universe bring you something better. Make space. The universe doesn't like a vacuum and will respond to your house cleaning by filling your home with what is best to serve you. So I have found that what really happens to people in life is that you do have to create the space for the new to come in. Yeah, I had this client 2 years ago. I had him write a list of what his ideal world, because he's like, yeah, you know what? I just don't know if I want to be an attorney anymore. Like, maybe I'm supposed to go in-house somewhere and be an in-house attorney and, not be that outside attorney any longer. And I made him make the list, and it was nothing ever seemed right to move to. So I go, you know what? When it doesn't seem fully right, that just means you don't have all the information yet. But what you need to do is you need to hold the container of what it is that you really actually want to create. And then, to your point, Karen, follow your intuition as to the next right steps. And wouldn't you know, just a month ago, he tells me, you know what, Jewel, I got a phone call. I said, what's that? He goes, it was this law firm that said, hey, we want to offer you a job. And he's like, I've never even interviewed with you guys. I don't know if I want a job with you. And he goes, what am I supposed to do? And they go, well, we know a couple people you worked with. They came to work for our firm. They vouched for you. They told us all about you. And these are guys that he resonated with. And when they left his firm, he was like, I got to get out of here. The people I liked left. And so now he's in a place where they appreciate him more. He got more income. So more money comes to you. And it literally just landed in his lap. See, when you're in the flow, those kind of jobs just land in your lap. And it's amazing.
And it's, it can sometimes be really hard to believe, because we've been trained to think that we will logically think ourselves or be able to plan ourselves to the next thing or to the, we can plan ourselves to something next, but is it the right thing? Is it the thing that's right for us? Yeah, you can
be like, particularly a lot of women out there. Men are much better at this than women, but women will sit there and because somebody asks them to do a task at work and they're afraid to lose their job, they just do it even though they hate doing the work. And I'm like going, no, this is about some of this decluttering is about hold the boundary of what you want to do and don't want to do and be like, you know, I appreciate the opportunity to do this. But I'm really not, because even decluttering the assignments that are coming at you, you know, is holding the boundary going, I don't want more of that to come into my world.
Yeah.
I want more of something else to come to my world. And then you get clarity. That is decluttering.
Yeah.
You know, saying no. You don't have to be everybody's shall answer person. You don't have to be the person that fixes it for everybody. But I'll tell you, if you've made yourself a fix-it person, everyone knows you're going to fix it and you're going to take it and you're just going to take it and hit. And you're going to keep taking the hits while you're becoming miserable. And then disease develops in your body.
I remember once, years ago, having I don't know the source of this concept or idea, but I remember having this conversation with friends years ago and in a workplace where I was working for somebody else. And the danger, right, of always being the one who you get asked to do something and then you're like, yep, got a rise to do it. You get it done. There are all kinds of accolades. Once you develop the moniker of being, oh no, give it to Julie or give it to Karen, because you know what? Then I don't have to worry about whether it's going to get done. It just keeps coming in that way. And people just expect, and here's the risk, right? Like check your ego on that. Because what typically is happening is you're getting these attaboys or attagirls for showing up and getting it done.
It's like the pat on the head.
And it's feeding you. And then you feel compelled to make sure you hit that same, you know, target the next time and the next time and then you look up and you're stressed out and you're overwhelmed and you're like, you're tired as hell because you just keep saying yes. Now, I am definitely a yes girl, and I think there's something energetically very powerful about saying yes, but it's also okay to put your personal caveats on that. Yes, under these circumstances. Yes, under these conditions. And a big piece of that is knowing what's true for you and knowing how you perform best. And that's where the soul's code stuff comes in, right? That's where this work comes in. And it's like, what's true for me? And how do I work best? And how do I need to communicate to these people how I work best? And that requires like, nope, not that thing. Yes, this thing. I get it. We can't always choose our projects or choose our assignments, certainly. But knowing yourself is a big piece.
But don't you think a little bit of that is so like, you know, people will say, well, Julie, you run your own company, so you get to call your own shots. And that is true. But you know what? I made a conscious choice that, you know what? These are the things I'm going to do in my company. And then there's the 95 things I'm not doing in my company.
Yeah.
And I made that active choice. And you can do that whether you're employed by somebody else or not.
No, it's true.
And we have to remember that this is all choice. We have to start to come from a place of empowerment and stop coming from a place of the victim of the system. You know, like we have to take our power back. It's like choose what you desire and build your world from that inside out.
Yeah.
And otherwise, the crises keep coming. The pay raises keep not coming. The bonuses get cut in half. Like it shows up in materialistic ways until we really start to choose what's true for us. And sometimes it's holding those boundaries. So maybe it's about the fact that you bring in a team member that does those things that you don't like.
Yeah.
And you find a way in how to do that.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's their unique ability to do those things. Because just because you can do something doesn't mean you're supposed to do something.
Right. Or that you should, you know, and it's the point that you're making is that we have far more power than we realize, and certainly far more creative power than we realize, because just because something showed up on your plate in a certain way doesn't mean it has to be executed that way.
Yep.
Doesn't mean that that's exactly the way that it has to unfold. And to your point, the point you were making about maybe somebody else has a better skill set on some aspect of the project that you're working on. And if that's the case, bring them in. I think that we become so used to being told what to do and just following instructions that we've
I've been
stopped.
calling them sheeples lately. We've become good sheeples, right?
That we forget that we have the capacity to choose and to make some creative distinctions and changes in direction.
Right. Right.
It's like, it doesn't mean that you say no to the project, but it could be that the way it looks and the way it unfolds to get to the end, there could be some minor adjustments in there.
Well, and so this is where it comes into play. I just did another Facebook Live this morning, and I talked about the fact that let's think out of the box, right? So just because it's always, and you and I are from the Midwest, right? So we're used to doing the same old all the time, right? I think that's one of the reasons that, in Chicago here, I think people are struggling so bad because the same old is not really working right now.
Well, it's not working, not only not in Chicago, but pretty much everywhere, no place else, right?
And you know what? And I've traveled. I've been on an airplane 8 times since this whole thing started.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I don't want to be told I'm locked down. That's my Sagittarius in me. The bird's got to fly. So, but what I'm noticing and being in other parts of the country, and actually I just came back from Costa Rica and even out of the country, that we really have to find this place of creativity again, of an innovation. I think that's one of the most beautiful parts of what's going on right now, is that we were forced to be creative, and look at how many people are living their work lives so differently.
Oh yeah.
Like my whole company operation is completely revamped.
Yeah.
I had an employee say, Julie, I've always really wanted to live in a warmer climate. I can't stay another winter here. I said, okay, where do you want to go? And she goes, I'm moving to Florida. I said, well, do you want to quit? She goes, I thought I had to. I go, I don't think you have to quit. And she goes, really? Like I can stay working here and move to Florida? I go, as long as you do your job. And she goes, I promise I'll do my job. And I go, great. She is so happy. We now have a branch in Florida for which I never had the intention ever of opening an office in Florida because I don't want to live in Florida. That works for some people. I'm born in Arizona, Southwest type of warm weather. But you know what? I was open and willing to be creative, to have a solution. And I really loved her working with me. And now it's a win-win for both parties. We need to add this creativity and this innovation, even if you're inside of a corporate structure, because you know what? We're all human beings. And honestly, we're all starving for it right now.
Yeah. I mean, and it's funny because creativity can be a loaded word for some people. We're like, oh yeah, I'm not a creative. Yeah, I'm not a creative person, and the truth is that we you need to see all your creativity behind you. I'm a financial planner with a bland wall, and Karen's got all these beautiful creative pictures and this amazing hair. And I'm like, oh, I just got Karen this morning. So we're like the epitome of the two different sides, right? I know, but you know what? You have really come out of your
fair enough.
Your logic box in a big way.
Well, and this is why all of you that are watching right now, listen to this woman because she is amazing from a creativity standpoint to get you out of your box. I'm a financial planner. We like our boxes. We like our plans, and we've done it this way. We've always done it this way. We're going to do it always this way. And she has just busted me out of my box. I met her before I was even pregnant with my oldest. So that was like 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And we've got to infuse ourselves with this creativity. And that's why I love your company name, because it's beyond blind spots. Like you have to be creative to get past your blind spots because you don't even know what they are.
You don't realize, like most of us don't realize. I'll tell you when you know, if you've got one, is when you're longing for something or you're feeling like something's not right in your life or that you want something different. And especially if you think you can't get it, that is definitely a blind spot. That like, oh, I really want to do this, or I really want to make this change or this shift, but I can't do it.
Or can
Like,
I
nope.
also say that it also shows up in a package where people will say, you know, it's not that I can't have it, but it's just like, oh, it just is the way that it is. Like that's you surrendering. Like it's almost like you're choosing to start dying.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, that the other place people go, right? Like, I really want something to be different, but I should be grateful with what I have.
Oh, that's the epitome of negotiating yourself away.
And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, it's this like binary thinking that happens. Like, I mean, it's a really beautiful thing to be grateful. But that doesn't mean you stop, to your point, innovating. You stop like iterating, quite frankly, like opening up to what is new and different. And so one of the things this today we're talking about decluttering your work life. And one of the ways to do that is to create, which is how you started the conversation, create the space for that to happen. Right. And in order to do that, it doesn't, I mean, what is in your life that's really no longer serving you? And some of this stuff will be tangible. But here's what's interesting. The physical stuff that you move out, oh, I don't really wear that anymore. Or, oh, we never use that piece of equipment. Or, oh, the kids are grown. We don't need to hold on to that anymore. Yeah. Even when you move that stuff out.
And that's the easiest stuff.
It's the easiest stuff. And you are creating space. And we're recommending that you start there. What does that have to do with my work life? Energetically, you carry all that's everything that's tethered and tangibly connected to you. You're that's like energetically you're holding. You carry it with you wherever you go.
Well, and let's talk about. Can we talk about that a little bit? I want to give people an example of that because so I'm launching this whole new brand of doing this awakening series and my online stuff, and it's a different way than a financial planners in the world. It's completely financial planners have not figured out how to be online and be out there in the world. Most of the people who do personal finance are media people or journalists. They're not actual finance people.
Yeah.
You know, like 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 and Robert Kiyosaki and you know 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫. None of them were ever like sitting there doing financial planning for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
You know, or Dave Ramsey's another one. You know, it's just all their own personal experience in it. And I was saying to my team, like, I'm also not a marketing person. And I was saying to my team today, I said, you know, we can sit here and we can point all the fingers as to why all these things are not correct. But if we really want to live in the present moment, you have to let go of all these problems that have happened in the past.
Yeah.
You know, I talk about it from a financial perspective where I say you have to clean up your financial past, which are your debts, while you're living in the present moment, which are your cash flows, the income coming in and the expenses going out, and then build your assets and plan for your future. And you have to do all three of those at the same time. The true is that's the other piece. It is true to apply to your work life and declutter, you know, cleaning house, clean the clutter, like we talked about at the beginning of this. That some of that clutter is saying, what is it that I'm holding on to my past that isn't making me giggle in this current moment? Right? Like job functions or people you're putting up with. And those are just reinforcing these suffering cycles that we go through.
Yeah.
And it is literally as easy as you going, I'm choosing to come from an empowered place. I don't want to point fingers anymore. The pointing fingers has got to stop. Just look at the political environment. Holy crap.
Right. Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
It's everybody else's fault. No, just freaking shift your own life and then the whole grid shifts for everybody.
Well, I think I want to pause and make a point for everybody listening to that point. It's like what you said is just be in your own life. Like just get in your own space. It's not about what anybody else is doing.
Totally.
It's not about what anybody else is saying they need or how they're doing it. Like
Yep.
the first powerful move to creating really dynamic change in your life is to get into your life, to get into your space, to get out of what anybody else is doing. It's quite frankly none of your business.
Even
You
though
know?
we think it's our business.
Yeah, it's really not. And you know what? It's just like, it's like what they say. They used to call it backseat driving.
Yep.
Like you're in the back seat. You don't have your foot is not on the pedal. Your hands are not on the wheels. You can't touch the gear shift. You can probably not even lower the windows in the back seat because the childproof thing is on, right? But you back there trying to give people directions and tell them what to do. Why? You have no control over that.
Yep.
Get in your own space. Get in your
Yep.
own space
Yep.
and think from the present moment. Like that's really like from here, regardless of what happened and how it happened back there, I'm here today. This is the circumstance. What would I prefer?
Right.
And in order to do that, you have to kind of be willing to let go of the stuff that's back there. That is a huge declutter, including the emotional stuff. You're pissed at somebody. They made you mad. You want to get back.
My boss did this, and this, and then I didn't get my bonus, and I didn't get my pay raise, and blah, blah. Can I just share with the people watching that when those things occur, that is the universe or God, whatever your belief system is, telling you you're not supposed to be there. Like these, or you're supposed to hold boundaries and stand up for yourself. Like that is the signal that you really need to be the observer of what's going on and then go, how am I supposed to shift? What am I supposed to do? This is not happening to you. It's happening for you.
Yeah.
And this is where if we really start to tap into that and say, all right, I didn't get the bonus. I didn't get the raise. How can I now shift this to a place of empowerment? How can I shift this to a way of going, so the client that found his ideal job by them calling him, and all of a sudden his wife's like, well, it always works out for him. It never works out for me. And I go, great. So let's figure out how it can work for you. And I go, what's your ideal place? It was really funny. Like she literally started giggling and started spewing out of her mouth all the things that were super important to her about the new place. I go, is that where you currently work? She goes, no, not even close. And I go, all right, I need you to make that list and I need you to put it on the fridge of all the things that make you giggle about the next place. Because I'll tell you this, I've witnessed once you make this list, it doesn't necessarily mean that you actually go to another company or start your own business. It may innovate inside of the corporation that you work in.
You're already in, yeah.
I have a client that she just started claiming it and she was getting so ticked off that all these men were getting put ahead of her and she was stagnant for 5 years with no pay raises, no bonuses, no more company stock. And she had given 27 years of her life to this firm. And finally, I had her make this list of the things that she desired and the people she wanted to be around and the creativity. She's like, this is never going to happen at this firm. This is the old boys network. And then sure as shit, one of those old boys who everyone felt threatened by because he was the most innovative and the stuff was taking off because he wasn't doing it the old way, came to her and said, hey, I'd like to bring you on this project and do this stuff internally, but we can't tell anybody about it because it's what we're going to be working on inside. And it was exactly the stuff on her list. And this guy didn't even know who she was, but started to hear through the grapevine.
Yeah.
He thought out of the box. They had never worked together on anything before. And then you know what happened a year later? She got an $80,000 a year pay raise.
Yeah.
Triple the bonus. Because he was in a position to actually influence that.
Yeah.
It all happened because she just made his life easier and allowed this thing to blossom and to flower.
Yeah, I can't, there's so many things that crossed my mind as you were speaking. It kind of ties back to the, like, just get into your own life, because you have to show up authentically. And that word is overused, authenticity and authentically, but
I
I
don't
don't
think people understand it, Karen.
Yeah, I don't think there's a better word for it. And it just means truth. You know, like show up in your truth. And also like the other corollary to this, and you talked about like having people write stuff down, is to extract your vision. And that may sound lofty. It's like, but it's what's your aspiration? What do you want? What would you prefer? And until you give that some architecture, you're going to be like sort of creating, not really creating. You're going to be straggling around, feeling like you're treading water, angry because things aren't happening the way you want. But there, those two things. One, what is your truth? And then like, what does that look like? Like what's the picture?
You know what it's reminding me of? Remember the first time you had me make a vision board?
Oh my God. I was thinking when you were talking earlier about getting out of the box, making you dance, making you work on the vision board. Like,
you have to share this with people, right? Because you guys remember, I am Julie Murphy. I'm a financial planner. I am a perfectionist. And I like my shit being in order. And Karen untangled my stuff. I remember, and I hired her. I'm like, I pay for this shit?
Right.
Like, what? Like, I go to this session with these ladies. And the dancing one was like over the top. We'll talk about that one second. But the because you know, you don't dance real well when you're a stiff financial planner, like managing money.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so, but if you are a person who really lets your brain control you, because trust me, everybody, that was me. I still, to this day, I can tell when I pull way too much up to my brain and I'm not living out in the world. And so Karen said, okay, well, we're going to do this thing for a little bit and you're just going to cut pictures out. And you're going to glue this piece of paper. Now, you guys, this piece of paper was like this big.
Yeah.
It was not a full piece of paper. It was like the 25% of a piece of paper. And as polite and as loving as Karen is, I'm just flipping through the pages of these magazines. She's like, tear out whatever it is that you want to manifest in the world in your life. And I just was like, okay. So I'm just flipping through papers and she's like, even if you don't know like why you're attracted to something, just tear it out. Okay, so about 20 minutes in, then I started to go, okay. So I just started, because logically I was so much a control person, a planner, that I had it all mapped out. I didn't need to map anything out. What are you talking about doing this vision board? So I'm pulling these pages out then, and then literally she goes, okay, well, we got about 10 more minutes left. So this is after like an hour. And she's like, you might want to start cutting some things out and pace it down. Like, she was so polite, you know? And I'm like going, what the hell am I doing? Like, none of this was logical. It was not in my control sphere. I was like, what is the purpose of this? Why? I don't see this, you know? And you know, my boyfriend today would actually probably tell you the same thing, that that still is a recovery process for me. But I still have that vision board. It was funny. Like, I had put Oprah Winfrey on there, and I found myself, you had me do that in 2007, I think. And I found myself in 2009, after my first book came out, I was on Oprah radio, you know? So like what I put on there came into fruition, you know? And I put grapes on there for some reason. I now know it's like, live the fruits of your labor, like live. I wasn't living, I was working. I was the hardest worker around. I built up a business when I started it at 22 years old, and I busted my butt. You know, now I manage over 300 million in assets under management and have a huge platform on social media, right? So it's like all these things opened up because I started to actually enjoy what it was that I was creating. So for those of you that really don't know how to get to this next space, like maybe it's just about like sitting down there and start tearing off things that resonate and you don't necessarily know why they resonate.
Yeah, it
Because
doesn't even matter.
my brain could not figure out. And if I didn't know the why, then I didn't do it. Just like we're not supposed to know the how. Like let go of your why and let go of your how.
Yeah, and it's so true, because I mean, why is important, but to me, it's actually inflated these days and a little bit overrated. Because honestly, I feel like if you haven't explored yourself, the why could be an implant. You could have been incepted with your why. It might not even be your why.
Like my why was always about satisfying my ex-husband's needs over my own.
Yeah, see?
Like I stayed working the way that I worked because he didn't want to work and he wanted to sit in coffee shops and have 2 nannies at home.
So you had a why. You had a why that you were functioning.
Somebody else's why.
That's why I said, that's exactly why I say, like, yeah, know your why. Okay. Right. That's great. But that's not the starting point.
And that's why sometimes you have to get out of your left brain logical. And that's where sitting down and doing a vision board, or are you making me dance?
Oh my God.
You tell people, tell people your impression of Julie trying to loosen up and open up.
It was not even complicated. And it was like 5 people in a room that Julie had been working with for over a year. Like, these are not strangers.
They were strangers.
They were not strangers. And the music is on, just like close your eyes, just move.
I think you got more rhythm than I had.
It's like, no, really, it's okay. You can move. It's like
my legs side to side.
Yeah, it was just like, yeah.
I was like, why the fuck am I doing this?
Exactly. And that's what's on your face. You're like, okay, you know what? I'm trying to be a good player here. So I'm gonna do this, but like, like in her wheels, you could tell those wheels were turning. There's all kinds of resistance.
All you control freaks out there need to listen to this, because this is why you're stuck and why you're jammed up, just like I was.
It's like, it was so crazy. You're like, yeah, that was hard. I'm like, really? Really? Oh, it's hard. Yeah, I don't.
It was the song, I'm coming out. I want the world
to know. Got to let it go, or let it show, or something like that. Yeah, it's just like, and it is that control part that doesn't let you relax, release. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to feel stupid. I don't want to move the old stuff. I don't want to like, and here's the thing, movement does that. When you physically move, which is why people feel so great after they exercise, because it's moving energy. Or runners. Y'all know, if you're a runner out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know why you A, feel compelled to run.
Right.
And B, how you feel while you're doing it and after you do it. You feel clean. You feel cleansed. You feel like, okay, the energy has moved. It helped with my head. There's definitely something to that. I feel that way with swimming. I don't quite feel that way with running the same way. But the point is, the physical movement moves things around.
Right. So if you're stuck, like if you're stuck in your work life, like how does this apply, right? We're talking about these things that are out of the box that you wouldn't normally think are in your work life. But like, it's super important that, I mean, think about how energized so many people felt when you no longer had to do your commute and you were working from home. Like it really actually energized a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because you had movement to a different place and you weren't on the same, grindstone every day. Yeah. Right. Like it just created some new energy to energize more of what we wanted to create while we're in the middle of a fire hose of trying to figure out the next right step.
Yeah. And it's really, that just highlights one other point, which is, as human beings, we need refreshing.
Oh, right.
And we get really used to the same old. and it just brings us way down. And even though it was put upon us, the pandemic and having to stay home, to your point, it was a new pathway. And even though it was uninvited, it refreshed.
Right.
It was challenging. It has been challenging for most people, but at the same time, it also forced you out of a traditional groove and into a new and fresh perspective. So,
which has given people information.
Lots.
So don't ignore the gift of the information that you have been given over the last 10 months. Because now is your time to harness that information that you have been given to create the new path that you want in your work life.
Yeah. And some of you may be thinking like, ugh, sounds great. What does that mean? What do I do? The one thing you can do from here is just answer this question, like, what is still true for me?
Yep.
Do I love my job? Are there things I want to change? You can ask yourself whatever questions and notice what area of your life comes up first. Do I feel good in my body? Do I love what we eat? What do I feel should be different? Do I wish was different? Just write that down. Yep. And here's the thing, we would love to hear from you. We want to know what you discovered. Like if you want to take an action, and it may not seem like a big deal, trust me, you pull that stuff down out of the ether and out of your head and you get it onto paper or your phone or wherever you put it, that action will initiate change in your life. That's all you're doing is pulling it down and writing down your truth. Yep, that serves me. Nope, that no longer serves me. Yes, I want that. Nope, I don't want that anymore. And just that exercise will create a change. And then come back and tell us, put it in the chat, put it in the notes, send Julie a DM, send me a DM. We really want to know. And if you don't believe us, say, what the heck? I'm going to try it. Don't believe us. Just try it and see what happens.
You know what? Follow your giggle. Follow the thing that makes you feel lighter, that makes you, I go back to this client that they're like, well, we really haven't left our house and we really, we wanted to have, we bought this camper and, God, we just love this winter. Like, what do we do with our kid if we want to, only 1.5 years old? I'm like, well, hire a traveling nanny and go to all the southern states and be in the warm. They're like, we can do that. And then she's like, but he's going to want to get the better camper for that. I go, okay. And they're like, okay. Like, this is the stuff that we are being given this time period because you don't know where that's going to put you. My guess is they're going to visit somewhere that their asses want to move to.
Yeah. You know what?
And then they're going to realize going, no, we're not going to do that $200,000 remodel on our house.
We're going to put it in
that spending that money is actually going to make us happy. It's really the fact that we don't really like to be in Chicago in the winters. And we want to work from somewhere else. And that's okay.
So true. It's so
true. But
true.
If you're open to taking that thing that's going to make you giggle or make you feel expansive, it's then going to open up in your work life, your personal life, your relationships, and you're going to feel more alive. You're going to feel like you're living. And this is what I challenge each and every one of you to do. That it's time to stop existing and surviving, and it's time to start living.
Yeah, and be audacious. Like it's only a piece of paper and no one else has to see. Be audacious.
No.
Like, you know what? I would love to travel 6 months out of the year and then still keep my home, but come back here when I want to and be able to work from anywhere and have my kids come and join me someplace where I'm living for 3 months, whatever.
Yep.
Or, I want to work from home the rest of my life or whatever that is.
Or decide that you want to work less amount of years on less income because you just don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like I just want somebody to figure out like they could retire 4 years earlier and move to a completely different state because it was less expensive.
Yeah.
And they were just like, I can't believe I just did that. I go, well, how's the new town you're living in? And they're going, this is amazing. And then what actually happened is their old employer said, can we hire you for contract work?
Exactly.
She's a little nervous financially doing it, but now, she's been there for a year and she's doing contract work. So she's making the revenue, but she had the courage to take that next right step. You just don't know how it's going to show up for you. But when you choose your heart and what makes you giggle, everything falls into alignment.
It does.
Always.
It does.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
Karen, what are you going to say? Sorry.
No, I'm thinking like, be willing to be a little brave and a little courageous. And here's the thing.
Not, come join us on Wednesdays, because we're going to help you find your 𝐾𝐻 to get to the next place.
Yeah.
Because we've done it. And the way you get to that next right step is keep joining people who have already done what it is that you want to do. Because they're going to have the energy and hold the container. When your container's weak and wobbly, we're going to hold the container and be like, I swear, what people do is they come to me for permission to live the life that they want to live.
Yeah, so, that they already know that they want to live.
Everyone else is going to tell us we're crazy, but Jewel, we know you're going to be like,
yeah, and I'm not going to tell you you're crazy either.
Like, great.
I'm gonna help you start charting that path. Let's see. Exactly. Let's see. What can we do?
Right. And then Karen, share with people your Thursdays, because I think that's another important place where they can come join.
Yeah, every Thursday I host a free kind of mini workshop and open Q&A and coaching. It's called Workshop Thursday, and you can register at Beyond Blind Spots, either my Instagram or my Facebook page. Super easy, but come and hang out with us. It's free, but it's a great place to put your toe in the water. And if you've got questions, I'm open to answering questions that people have or helping them get through a situation. And look, I tell people, it's like, yeah, it's $400 an hour worth of coaching for free.
Yeah, right.
Come get it.
And you and I both know the reason we do this is because things show up for us in other areas of our life because we're serving and helping people in these areas.
Yeah. And
remember, the results of things aren't necessarily direct.
Right.
It may be indirect where it comes somewhere else.
Well, that's a whole nother, we should write that down for next week. Because that, you're at letter A, but you're trying to get to Z, and I call it the black box in between. That's a whole nother conversation about how things unfold and how you get to where you're going.
So come back next Thursday or next Wednesday, and we're going to talk about that. That will be what we talk about next week to help people. Like, you're on one side of the bridge and you want to get to the other side. Yeah. How do you walk across that bridge and see how things are showing up? Because it's not a straight line. It's not a linear.
Rarely.
I don't know if I've ever seen a straight line. It's always
and often it's people you may not have ever expected zip around and come back and are the linchpin. Yeah, I met this person 20 years ago, and it just so happened that we were blah 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 blah. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, there's the connection.
Voila. So, right. You just never know.
You never know.
And don't forget, I'm also I want to help everybody awaken their wealth from the inside out. Mm-hmm. And so I am going to be giving away a free copy of my book. You just have to pay for your shipping. So we are going to be having that funnel go live. So go to juliemurphy.com, sign up for my newsletters, because then you'll be alerted when we do that.
Yay.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us this week. Love you all.
Bye. Come back and see us.
Bye.